Welcome to our another lesson of MySQL. In this lesson, we are going to learn about how we can enter our data, such as our database online. So, first things first, we are going to need a server. And for that server, we are going to use XAMPP. And first off, what you're going to do if you don't have XAMPP downloaded, first go over to your web browser and click on or just search for XAMPP, and it will take you directly to apachefriends.org. From there, you can see that we have this interface where you'll be able to download XAMPP for whichever OS you are using. If you are using Mac, then you can use this XAMPP for OS X. Then if you are using Linux, then XAMPP for Linux. And obviously, we also have Windows. Here, make sure to download the bit or whichever bit your PC is, and then download it according to your desire, and also make sure to download the latest version of it. So here, just click on this download 64-bit because I have a 64-bit device, and it will directly open up. Then after it opens up, you can see that a pop-up screen like this will appear up. Then select wherever directory you want to download your file, which is XAMPP, and then click on save, and it will be saved. And after that, just install it on your PC or your device, and you will be able to start working with XAMPP. After it is downloaded, what you're gonna do is open up the XAMPP software, and you can see that XAMPP is kind of like this. Then what you're gonna do is open up the first two ones, which is Apache and MySQL. Make sure to click on it and install it in a perfect way. Then click on Apache and click on stop or start if it's already started. So you have to keep it on, and if it's not on, which is from the basic or from the start, so click on start and it will start in a couple of seconds. You can see that the status change detected and now it's running. Then what you're going to do is open up your MySQL too, and now you can see MySQL is also running. The next thing what you're going to do is open up any of the web browser, and as you can see that I have my web browser on. The next thing to enter our data, we are going to use PHP MyAdmin. To use PHP MyAdmin, what you're going to do is search for localhost first, because obviously you're going to need a server, and obviously your server is already on. So search for local and host. Make sure it is working. Click on localhost, and you can see that XAMPP is already on and your Apache server is turned on. So next thing what you're going to do is add in PHP MyAdmin. So here, apply a slash or an oblique, and then type in PHP MyAdmin, and then slash again, and hit on enter, and it will open up a pop-up page where you will be able to enter your data so that you can use for MySQL and also for the database. From here, you can see that my screen is now on, and also PHP MyAdmin is on. First off, click on database from over here, and you can see that it will take a bit of a time, and then you will see an interface like this will appear up. From here, what you're going to do is name up your database. Let's say I'm going to name my database to be JKL2. Okay. And here you're going to select the format, whichever one you want to use. But I'm going to suggest you to use the, default one, which is like this, UTF-8 MB4. But you can also use Latin one, which is also very popular. So I'm going to go up. Okay. So I'm going to go up and find my Latin one, which is kind of over here, and make sure to select Swedish CI, which is kind of over here, and now I can use it. Okay, so after I've selected it, now what I'm going to do is go over to the structure. But to go over to the structure, what I have to do is first off create it. Now as it is created, the process or JKL2 has been created. From here, we are going to go directly to SQL, which is the main part. So here I'm going to do is first off go over to SQL. And in SQL, I'm going to type in my data. You can see this is loading, and this is where you are going to put in your command. But if you want to see the directory and the file, you can see database JKL2 has also been connected to the server and also is working. You can also change the name wherever you want. You can just click on structure, and you can see that you will see the table name, number of columns, and all of those. First off, let's just name our table. Let's say I'm going to type in student. So I'm going to make a student table and a database according to that, and then select the number of columns which you are going to use. Let's say I'm going to select, or you can also type in, let's say I'm going to use 5. Now, as I have 5 of them created, the next thing I'm going to do is click on create again. And after I have clicked on create, you will see that a database validation table will appear up on your screen. Here you're gonna type in your own type of database. So I'm gonna fulfill like mostly all of them. So just stay on with this and just follow these steps. So let's say the name is going to be Jack. And here I'm going to type in int, which is the type. You can select whichever one you want, but I'm going to suggest you to use varchar. And here the length, let's say I'm going to keep it 100. And here I'm going to do the same thing, fix up a name. And let's say this is going to be Tim. And as I've typed in Tim, I'm going to use varchar on each and every one. Then I'm going to do the same thing over here because I kept it 100. Like, let's say I'm going to keep it 90. I'm going to keep it 92. And here I'm gonna do is use another one. Let's say central column is going to be the username. So here let me type in username, and here instead of name let me just put in last name because that is where the last name is going to be. And instead of the name first, let's just put in a category. So I'm gonna type in first name, and then we have our first name and also our last name. But here, make sure there is no space. And if you want to use space, make sure to put in an underscore. And as this is going to be our username, so here what we're going to put is going to be varchar. But you can also use text if you want to. But here I'm going to use varchar because I'm using it for the next last two ones. Here I'm going to do is make sure to fix another one. Let's say this is going to be the ID. And over here, I'm going to put in role. So now I have mostly all of them, and among all of them, what I'm going to do is use varchar on each and every one. You can see varchar is selected. On the last one, I'm going to keep it int if you want to, okay? So if you don't want it to be int, you can also change it to varchar. That's totally up to you. But make sure that the length and values are mostly the same, okay? So that you don't face any problems later on. Then the next thing what I'm going to do is open it up again, and after that, just press on create. And then preview your SQL if you want to get reassurance. So I'm going to put in role over here to be 92. And here I'm going to put the int over here. And here I'm going to preview it, preview SQL. And it's going to take a bit of a time. And then after a while, you will see that this is how it will actually look like. But you don't have to worry that much, because obviously this is how it actually looks like when you save it and also preview your SQL. But if you save it and go over to the structure, I'm going to close it off. I'm going to go over to structure. I'm going to press on OK. And it will open up the structure for me without any further ado and without any problem. So I'm going to go back again. Now when I preview it, now you can see that we have our first name, last name, username, and ID is int. Well, int is integer and varchar is totally different. But yet you can see that we have made our table over here. Well, this is not that complex when you use PHP MyAdmin, because database is very easy to do, or making a table is very easy to do in PHP MyAdmin. Next thing I'm going to do is go over the structure again, our table structure, wherever you want to see it. So I'm going to do is go over back again, and you can also select whichever one you want to. So you can see we have name, type, collation, attributes, null, default, comments, extra, and action. Okay. Now, if you want to edit, remove, or make some customizations on this table, what you have to do is go over to JKL, which is opened over here. Now you can also delete it if you want to. You can edit it whenever you want to. Let's say I'm going to select on it, and then you can delete it, and you can also keep it if you want to. But what you have to see over here is go over to browse. You can see an option of SQL and all of those. You can go over to SQL and see how it actually looks like. But if it's not showing, what you're going to do is go over to structure and go over to SQL again, run SQL query, which is already running. The next thing what you're going to do is, so from here, I'm going to click on this JKL2 again. And after that, what I'm going to do is select on the student. And when this opens up, now you can see that we only have our first name, last name, username, and ID. And if you want to put in role too, you can also put that, but I removed it so that it becomes a lot more easier for you. And as you can see that we have no data over here because we didn't put any data inside of our table. So we have 4 of the columns, but no rows over here with no values. So let's go to insert. And then what you're going to do is put in the values. Let's say in varchar 1, you can also put in our value over here. Let's say I'm going to put in C, and in the last name, let's say put V, and then in username, let's say UB, and in ID, let's put in a number. Okay, let's say I'm going to put in 1, 1, 2, 3, and press on go. and you will see that it will be structured and also showing it to me in this codes. So what you have to do is, as it is running, then you can also insert it wherever you want to. Now you can also see that the one row is inserted. That means that the structure is now changed. Now from here, what you're going to do is create, okay, create the PHP code. So I'm going to click on create PHP code, and it will take a bit of a time, and you can see that 0 rows are inserted first. And this code will be put in our main code or our main structure. Now, if you want to see it, what you have to do is go back again, go over to JKL2. Let's open it up and see if any changes are made. So I'm going to go over to students, and let's see the changes over there. Now you can see that a first name is C, last name is V, username is B, and in our ID we have our integer number, which is 123. And that is basically how you will be able to do that. Then you can also insert wherever you want from through SQL. So what you have to do is go over to SQL, and you can type in the codes over here too. So let's say I'm going to type in something. You can also press on insert and all of those, but you can also directly insert it over here. But what you have to do is add that content over here. First, I'm going to click on update. I can see the update, command has been put. You can also select it. You can see select, you have also insert, and we also have delete too. Okay, so next thing what you have to do is, if you want to insert more, then you have to go over to insert again. Let's say I'm going to go over to insert, and I'm going to put in more, press on OK. Let's say I'm going to go over here. Let's say I'm going to put in F H K, and then put in our integer value, which is going to be 23. And now I'm going to do is put on go. Now as I press on go, I'm going to go over to SQL again, and I don't even have to do that because now you can see that FHK and also our integer number, which is 23, has been directly applied through PHP code. Now let's go over as it has been input. So I'm going to go over to table students, which is over here. You can go through there too. And now you can see another row and another type of data has been appeared over here, which you can see FHK, and we also inserted previously, which was C, V, and B, and our integer number was 123, but here we have our integer number to be 23. Now, if you want to insert data through SQL, just codes, then first off what you have to do is go over to SQL, and then from here what I'm going to do is delete it if you want to. First I'm going to do is delete it. Now as this is deleted, I'm going to click on insert again. So you have to need, you're going to need the structure of insert. And obviously when you click on insert, it's going to give you directly the structure of how the commands actually work. So the first thing what we have to do over here is going to be changing our values. So to change our values, what we're going to do is cut all of these off. So as I cut all of them off, so I'm going to do is press on delete. Now we also see that we have our quotations. Okay. So first thing, let's say the first 3 of them is going to be characters, and the last one is going to be integer numbers. So let's say over here, let's type in n. We have our n. Now I'm going to put in comma again, comma. Then here I'm going to put in quotation again. We have our quotation. In quotation, let's put k, quotation again, comma, quotation again, and let's say I'm going to put in k, or maybe let's say j over here. Now as we have 3 of our characters in the last one, what we're going to put is going to be our integer number. To put in our integer number, you don't have to put in quotations because this is not character. So I'm going to type in a different thing. Let's say here I'm going to type in 45 and close it with a quotation again, so that all of them is closed. And as all of them are closed, what I'm going to do is going to be go. So as I've typed in go, now you will see that it will appear like this. If you feel see a format or an error like this, what you have to do is just apply another quotation if it's a mistake and see how it actually works. Press on go and see if it works right now. Then you can see that it has been put. So next thing what you're gonna do is create PHP code again. Then what you're gonna do is create it, and it will be put on your structure. And what you're gonna do is go over to table students again and see if it is applied. If it is not applied, then just have to apply it. Now you can see that the value which we put on the last one on our data table, n, k, and j, has appeared over on our database table. Now, another thing you have to keep in mind that you can see that showing rows 0 to 2 and 3 total query took 0.0 seconds. Okay, so here you can see that we have select, which is also a command, and from, where it's getting the source from, and also the table is student. And you can see that in between them we have a star symbol. The star symbol is used so that it can show up all our attributes and all of our data. So if you want to change it and like use specific type of category data, what you have to do is cut off this star symbol. So I'm going to do is cut it off from over here. Let's see if it works. If it's not working, you have to make it like editable. So you can see current selection does not contain a unique column, grid edit, checkbox edit, copy and delete features are not available. So if it's showing you that the features are not available, what you're going to do is click on edit first. And after you edit it, it's going to take you directly to the SQL interface. So here I'm going to do the formatting. So I'm going to click on this, delete the star, and let's say I want username. So I'm going to type in username. You can also put in first name if you want to. So I'm going to like click it from over here and click on go. And when I press on go, you will see that it will directly show up the definite type of category data, which I actually need. Let's say I want to use a different one. So I'm going to do is cut it off again or just go back and see. Let's say I'm going to click on students again and open up the table. And here on my table, we also have our first name, last name, username, and ID. So I'm going to click on edit. And let's say this time I'm going to get ID. So I'm going to click on edit. And I'm going to do is delete the star again and tap in ID. And I'm going to click on go. And when I press on go, you will see that it is only showing me ID right now. So this is basically how you will be able to fix your table and also get it whenever you want. Just like I told you, relatable SQL. Now, let's say I want a specific value from a specific person. Okay, let's say I want a specific value for F. So what you have to do is use the where tag or the where command. So I'm going to click on edit first. And as I clicked on edit, so I'm going to like remove this too. Let's say I'm going to type in ID. And obviously you're going to need the source. And to use or like get the source, we're going to use the command from over here. Type in where, make sure all of them are capital. And then here, where is going to be our first name, which you can see varchar 90. And you just click on first name, type in equal. And over here, I'm going to type in equal. And after equal, you're going to type in the one you want. So here I'm going to do is quotation, let's say F. I'm going to close it off too. And after I typed in F, I'm going to click on go. After I pressed on go, now I'm going to do is you can see for F, the ID is 23. So this is how you'll be able to get like specific number or the specific data value of a specific person from SQL. Now let's say we want a PHP code. And if you want to derive it to a PHP code, just click on this create PHP code and it will open up as a PHP code and you can use it, okay, on whichever text editor you're using so that you can get our final result. Then let's go over to our table again. And I'm going to do is go over to table student. And here we're going to go over the structure too. And then you can also like delete and also change it like however you want to. That's like totally up to you how you're going to work with it. You can also change it. You can also drop it and you can do a lot more. Let's say if you want to drop it, you can also click on this drop and click on OK. And all of the data which you wanted it will be dropped over here. You can see it like this. You can also make it unique. And if you want to like change it, you can also do that too. You can see that the add is 1 and also columns is after ID. Now, as I've dropped it, now let's go over the table and see if there is any change. Okay, now you can see that I still have 3 of them. Okay, but I have one of the column which is missing, which was the first name. Okay, so this is how you'll be able to drop in a specific category of data however you want to. But let's say you deleted it, and now how you'll be able to like increase one more. To do that, what you have to do is add in another one. First off, go off the structure. And after you go off the structure, you will see a part underneath. Let's say after where. So I'm going to do is before, okay? You can also put in between, but I want to put it at beginning. At beginning, and how many columns do you want to add? you can like type in the number. Let's say I want to add 6. That's like totally up to you. But if you want to add in 1, just click on 1, press on go, and you will see the data validation table will appear up. Let's say the first is going to be obviously our first name, integer, or like varchar, which is going to be our character. Let's say length is to be 90. I'm going to do is press on save, and this will preview on your SQL. First off, create. Now you can see that we also have like how it was previously and how it was made at first. Let's go over the table and let's see how it actually works. And you can see that we have our first table, but we don't have our data. So that is basically it, because how you'll be able to add in content. If you want to add in content, just go over to insert and then add in your content however you want to. You can see this is going to be our column type. And so here in our first name, what you're going to do is type in the varchar or whichever one you want. Let's say I'm going to type in K. And as I don't want any of the IDs and all of those, so I'm going to press on go. And you will see that it will be directly applied to the table. Let's just show it to you. And now you can see that one row is inserted and warning incorrect. So even though if it's like incorrect, what you have to do is go over to table student. Now let's see if it works. If it did not work, well, you can see that a couple of this data is now missing. So you have to keep in mind about it, like how it actually works and how you'll be able to put it. Okay, so I'm going to suggest you to be like very cautious from the beginning, because if you later on edit it, you might face a couple of problems. But you don't have to worry that much. You just have to go through this structure and then put in your own data like however you want to. And if you want to like edit it later on, just go over to insert and put in your own value however you want. You can put it over on rows and columns, the types, the functions, the null, the value, and all of those. Okay, so this is like, some people might think like this is like very complex, but it actually is not. You just have to go through these options and all of those a bit, and then you will get a hold of it. Okay, now if you want to delete the whole table, what you have to do is go over to operations. And at the bottom of operations, you will find an option called empty the delete table, which is like truncate and empty the table, and also delete the table, which is drop, just like we did a while ago. So let's say I'm going to do is search for like empty the table or like empty the table, which is like empty. Okay, so first off, empty the table. I'm going to click on this, press on OK. And I'm going to do is go over the table again and see, I'm going to go over the table. And now you'll be able to see that there is nothing. Okay, so this is basically how it works. But if you want to delete the whole thing, what you're going to do is drop it. So let me just show it to you, like dropping it, like delete the table. I'm going to drop, press on OK. And you will see that the whole table will be dropped and nothing will remain on student. Then you have to like see the first page of creating a data validation table again. So this is basically how data validation works and table like data entry works by using PHP MyAdmin and also MySQL. And both of them obviously are connected. Then you're going to do the same thing over and over again, like name the table, the number of columns, and then add it through SQL. Then the queries and import, export, you can also do that. Later on, edit it and also go through SQL and put on those commands and put it on your table so that you get most of the data on the table. So thank you for watching this video and hope to see you in my next lesson.